Jesus in the Qur'an Part 4. 4. The description of Prophet Jesus. The Quran has given us a description of Prophet Jesus, may God praise him. This description covers some of his mannerisms and also the nature of his message. God mentions that he protected Jesus. He, the Exalted, says, "And we did certainly give Moses the Torah and followed up after him with messengers. And we gave Jesus, the son of Mary, clear proofs and supported him with the pure spirit. But is it not that every time a messenger came to you, O children of Israel, with what your souls did not desire, you were arrogant? And a party of messengers you denied and another party you killed." Quran 2:87. Allah also describes Jesus as being a perfect example in terms of complete faith and sincerity to God. Muslims believe that Prophet Jesus will descend to the earth towards the end of time. God, the Exalted, says, "And when the son of Mary was presented as an example, immediately your people laughed aloud. And they said, Are your gods better, or is he?" They did not present the comparison except for mere argument. But, in fact, they are a people prone to dispute. Jesus was not but a slave upon whom we bestowed favor, and we made him an example for the children of Israel. And if we willed, we could have made, instead of you angels succeeding one another on the earth. And indeed, Jesus will be a sign for knowledge of the hour, so be not in doubt of it, and follow me. This is a straight path, Quran 43:57-61. 5. Physical characteristics of Jesus. As for his physical qualities and features, the Prophet Muhammad described him saying, "There was no prophet between me and Prophet Jesus. He will descend from the heavens to earth. If you see him, know his description. He is an average-sized individual, he is neither fat nor skinny. His skin color has a reddish-white hue." The Prophet said, "The prophets are brothers from different mothers. The creed they all carry is one and the specifics of their laws differ. There is no prophet between Jesus and I. He will break the cross and kill the swine and remove the jizya, head tax. He will unite all under one belief and only Islam will prevail during his reign. During his reign the Antichrist will be killed and safety and security will spread throughout the lands till animals will harmoniously coexist with each other. Children will play with snakes not being harmed by them. He will rule amongst the Muslims for as long as Allah wills and then he will die and the Muslims will bury him. Ahmed." The Prophet said, "I saw Jesus, Moses and Abraham. As for Jesus he had a pinkish hue and has a broad chest." Bukhari. The Prophet clarified that one's faith would not be complete unless they believe in Jesus being a messenger of God. This would lead one to a blissful life in the heavenly abode. The Prophet said, "Whoever testifies that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah and that he has no partner and that Muhammad is his slave and messenger and that Jesus is the slave of Allah created by the command of Allah through Mary and that Jannah, i.e. the heavenly abode, and hell are true will enter Jannah, even if they have not done a single good deed." Believing that Jesus is a messenger of God will also increase one's rewards. The Prophet said, "Whoever believes in Jesus the son of Mary as a prophet and messenger of God and then believes in me, will have 2 rewards. Bukhari. 6. Jesus and the Antichrist. The Prophet clarified to us that the return of Jesus to the earth is one of the final signs of the Day of Judgment. The proof of this is in the words of Allah, the Exalted. "And when the son of Mary was presented as an example, immediately your people laughed aloud. And they said, Are your gods better, or is he?" They did not present the comparison except for mere argument. But, in fact, they are a people prone to dispute. Jesus was not but a servant upon whom we bestowed favor, and we made him an example for the children of Israel. And if we willed, we could have made, instead of you angels succeeding one another on the earth. And indeed, Jesus will be a sign for knowledge of the hour, so be not in doubt of it, and follow me. This is a straight path, Quran 43:57-61. Due to the greatness of Prophet Jesus, he will be the one who will slay the Antichrist. He will also spread the message of Islam during the times of great tribulation. During that time the good will be viewed as bad and the bad as good. The Prophet said, "O people, there has been no fitna, trial, greater on this earth from the time that Adam was created till the end of time than that of the Dajjal, Antichrist. Every prophet warned his people of this trial. I am the last of prophets and you are the last of nations, and he will come forth during this era without a doubt. If he comes out while I am amongst you I will defend every Muslim. But if he comes out after I pass away, then every Muslim will have to defend himself. He will first emerge from an area between the greater Syria area and Iraq. He will go to the east and the west causing problems wherever he goes. O slaves of Allah, O people, be firm. I will describe him to you like no prophet has described him. He will claim to be your God, but you shall not see God in this world. He is one-eyed and your God is not one-eyed. It is written between his eyes, disbeliever, every believer will be able to read it whether they are lettered or unlettered. He will have a heaven and a hell with him. His hell is a heaven and the heaven is a hell. Whoever is tried through his hell, let them beseech Allah and recite the first verses of the chapter of Al-Kahf. He would say to a Bedouin, if you see that I resurrect your mother and your father would you believe in me? The Bedouin would say yes, and two devils would emerge in the form of his parents and order him to obey Ad-Dajjal. He will kill a person cutting him in half and then say, look at my slave, I have cut him in half and I shall resurrect him. He then would ask that person, who is your God? The man who was just cut would say, Allah. You are the enemy of Allah, you are Ad-Dajjal. I am now surer than ever that you are the one whom our prophet warned us against. He would order the heavens to pour rain and the earth to bring forth the best of its vegetation. He would pass by a district who disbelieve in him and he would order the land to stop producing its vegetation and all their crops and animals would die. He would pass by another and ask them to believe in him and they would witness such great material blessings. He will go to every corner of this world except for Makkah and Medina. Angels will be standing guarding both with their swords. While he is waiting outside, Medina would shake violently and all the hypocrites would emerge and go out to join him. It will be purified by the will of Allah. It was said, where are the Arabs on that day? He said, they would be few in number and they would be with a pious imam, leader. While he is about to perform the morning prayer, Jesus would descend, and the imam would step back to let him lead, but Jesus would push him forward. After the prayers, Jesus would ask that the door be opened and behind it would be the Dajjal and with him 70,000 of his troops. They would all be killed and Jesus would rule as a wise and just ruler. He would kill the swine, break the cross and rule with the laws of Islam. 7. Miracles of Prophet Jesus. At times people would reject the veracity of a prophet and would not believe until they witnessed a tangible miracle. So in light of this, Allah sent his prophets and messengers with miracles. Allah, the Exalted, says, and we have already sent messengers before you and assigned to them wives and descendants. And it was not for a messenger to come with a sign except by permission of Allah. For every term is a decree. Qur'an 13:38. Each prophet was given miracles that their nations could comprehend and relate to. The people of Prophet Moses were well known for their mastery of sorcery. So Allah aided Prophet Moses with miracles his people could comprehend, his staff miraculously transformed into a serpent. God, the Exalted, says, and the magicians came to Pharaoh. They said, indeed for us is a reward if we are the predominant. He said, yes, and, moreover, you will be among those made near to me. They said, O Moses, either you throw your staff, or we will be the ones to throw first. He said, throw, and when they threw, they bewitched the eyes of the people and struck terror into them, and they presented a great feat of magic. And we inspired to Moses, throw your staff, and at once it devoured what they were falsifying. So the truth was established, and abolished was what they were doing. And Pharaoh and his people were overcome right there and became debased. And the magicians fell down in prostration to Allah. They said, we have believed in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Moses and Aaron. Qur'an 7:113-121. The people of Prophet Jesus were well known for their knowledge of medicine. His was aided with miracles his people could comprehend. He spoke to people while he was a newborn infant. He would make a bird's shape in clay, and then by the will of God, life would be breathed into it. He would heal the lepers and those who were blind from their ailments. He even, by the will of Allah, brought the dead back to life. Allah says, the day when Allah will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, Remember my favor upon you and upon your mother when I supported you with the pure spirit and you spoke to the people in the cradle and in maturity. And remember when I taught you writing and wisdom and the Torah and the gospel. And when you designed from clay what was like the form of a bird with my permission, then you breathed into it, and it became a bird with my permission. And you healed the blind and the leper with my permission, and when you brought forth the dead with my permission. And when I restrained the children of Israel from killing you when you came to them with clear proofs and those who disbelieved among them said, this is not but obvious magic. Qur'an 5:110. Another miracle prophet Jesus received was the feast. His disciples asked for a heavenly feast so that their hearts would be affirmed. So he prayed to Allah for this and it was granted. Allah, the Exalted, says. And remember when the disciples said, O Jesus, son of Mary, can your Lord send down to us a table spread with food from the heaven? Jesus said, fear Allah, if you should be believers. They said, we wish to eat from it and let our hearts be reassured and know that you have been truthful to us and be among its witnesses. Qur'an 5:112-3. 8. Prophet Jesus and his rejection of Shirk, Polytheism. The Qur'an has mentioned to us that Jesus was like all prophets and messengers sent by God. He upheld the belief in the oneness of Allah. God, the Exalted, says. And when Jesus brought clear proofs, he said, I have come to you with wisdom and to make clear to you some of that over which you differ, so fear Allah and obey me. Qur'an 43:63. The Qur'an clarifies that Jesus never called for people to worship him. God, the Exalted, says. And beware the day when Allah will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah? He will say, exalted are you. It was not for me to say that to which I have no right. If I had said it, you would have known it. You know what is within myself, and I do not know what is within yourself. Indeed, it is you who is knower of the unseen. I said not to them except what you commanded me, to worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. And I was a witness over them as long as I was among them, but when you took me up, you were the observer over them, and you are, over all things, witness. If you should punish them, indeed they are your servants, but if you forgive them, indeed it is you who is the Exalted in might, the wise. Qur'an 5:116-8.